Welcome to Wealthy Muslim Woman Podcast, a resource for Muslim women to learn about money, how to create it, grow it, and to protect it. Money's easy. All that's needed is the right mindset. I'm your host, Dr. Saima Ali, with life coaching tools to truly help you create wealth in all areas of your life. Welcome to another very special episode of Wealthy Muslim Woman Podcast. Today, I have another guest, my beautiful friend, Dr. K. She is a mom, a physician, and a life coach. And when I say beautiful, mashallah, she's beautiful. And the reason why I bring it up is because you have to go listen to her podcast about her growing up and being put in a position where she had to question her body image because, mashallah, she was tall and she was skinny. And yes, those are qualities of a model, but this society can make you believe different things about yourself. So you have to check out her podcast when you get a chance. And she is American Muslim woman, my favorite group of people, especially for those of us who grew up in the 90s and early 2000s, our post 9/11 struggles of questioning ourselves, questioning our beliefs, and then taking that journey back to accepting ourselves and accepting, especially our beautiful religion, and just becoming these amazing women. And I love seeing all these stories on Instagram, on TikTok, or wherever you are. And this is my contribution of inviting all of them to my podcast and having them share their story. So I am sure you will love this episode. I can't wait for you to hear it. So I'll just stop talking so you can listen to our podcast together. I'm so honored to have my friend and another physician, Dr. K. I loved how you lay it out in your podcast that I'm Dr. K and people have trouble pronouncing the name. So I love Dr. K to the podcast. And you have your own podcast that I'd love to hear more about. But instead of me introducing you, I'd love for you to tell everybody about who you are, what you do, and just everything about yourself.
Awesome. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum to you and to everyone listening. And it's such an honor again to be here. Let me tell everyone just a little bit. Like, I consider Saima to be my mentor. Okay. And it's not a secret. I tell everybody, I know, but it's not something that I want to keep a secret. It was an excellent experience through your Wealthy Women coaching in the course. And I got introduced to this world, and then I realized how important and needed this is, and literally that was my push in the right direction. And alhamdulillah, I can't thank you enough, and this whole journey. So a little bit about myself. My name is Dr. Kanwal Akther. I am a board certified internal medicine physician, and I practice full-time as a hospitalist doctor in South Florida. I go by Dr. K because for non-subcontinent people, it's hard to pronounce my name the way it's written. But overall, I consider myself Muslima first, a physician, a wife, a mother, entrepreneur. I have a successful business in the medical field that I co-founded with my partner that we've been running for 10 years, alhamdulillah, and it gives me the perfect family work balance. And I started with life coaching because it is such an underutilized tool, and that is the mind. I feel like our mind just keeps running our life rather than us running our mind. And when I came to this, I was like, this is not something that should be kept a secret. So I went full force into this field, and that's where I am. So I host the Islamic Life Coach School podcast, and that's where my general life coaching business is. It's Islamic Life Coach School.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored for the kind words that you have for me. I never thought I would be considered your mentor, but I'm honored for that title. Thank you again. So let's break it down. I'd love to hear everybody's opinion. We all have our own thoughts about how we see the world. And especially when it comes to life coach, like I feel like this word is being used a lot nowadays, especially on social media. You see everybody using it. What exactly is a life coach in your opinion or in your perspective?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. First, I don't mean a mentor like you're older than me or anything. I just think that you're wiser. Okay. Yeah, we're
I did not
actually
think it
colleagues,
that
of
way.
course. You have younger children than I do. So that's definitely not how I meant it. I don't know if that's
That's not how I was thinking either. But
okay, okay,
even to
good.
be more
Just to
wiser than
clarify.
you, even that's like such a huge compliment that my head can't wrap around it. Like I
Oh,
see you as,
Carla, but you are.
somebody I look up to. So for me to even accept that is like a huge.
Yeah, yeah. No, but subhanAllah, you are, alhamdulillah. So
Thank you.
that's very good. So life coaching, wow. It's such a huge topic, but just like there are different kinds of physicians, even if, let's say, like yourself in the field of neurology or myself in the field of internal medicine, there are all different spectrums of physician, how they practice, what their specialties are, what they're good at, or if they just pretend to be good at something that they're really not. Like you see all different colors of the spectrum in any profession. Same way you'll see that in life coaching. There are people who call themselves life coaches without any quote unquote formal training and based on their life experiences, which maybe makes them a good life coach. We never know. But life coaching, the way I describe it is, for me, I'm a mindset coach, and anybody who can help you manage your mind can be considered a life coach. There are people who call themselves life coaches because they can give you advice on the field of marketing or advertisement. Or there are people who can consider themselves a life coach because they can give you advice in the field of nutrition, wellness, and fitness and overall. So there isn't a one size fits all definition to this term, life coach. What I do recognize is that for physicians, it's a very high bar that is set by the boards and the licensing agencies to enter into that field. You have to go through training after training, exam after exam. For life coaching, that bar is extremely low. Like anybody can call themselves a life coach. And when they come to this, then really it's up to the feedback they get to realize if they're good or not. You might be a successful life coach at something that I would never consider myself that I'll ever be good at that. So life coaching to me is basically a general guidance that somebody else can provide you in areas of your difficulty or areas of struggle.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. And so a doctor, not an easy job, a life coach, a mom, the hardest in the world. I feel like that's the hardest job in the world, in my opinion. How do you manage it all? Like, how do you have time to be an entrepreneur and see what's in the world, be a mom and be a physician? Like all those tasks, I feel require so much energy, so much brain power.
Right. So it's interesting that you asked that because they do require a lot of energy and they do require a lot of focus. I tell myself that I act as a substitute frontal brain for 5 people in my life, including myself. So that's all of my family members, right? And that does require energy. But what really helps me is that it only requires energy one item at a time. Like if I am working as a mother at home, then that's all I am. Like at that point, I'm not going to let my brain go crazy on things that need to be done at work or in regards to my coaching business. And the same is true depending on what role I'm playing any day of the week or any hour of the day. The biggest fallback plan, or I don't know, like a cushion for me is where I slip is where I find my spirituality, my religiosity. And that's exactly why I've founded my life coaching business around religiosity, is because the life that you're trying to live kind of poses itself as the most and the ultimate important thing. And when you get wrapped up in that, in all of these roles that you're described, you really lose focus on that one thing that matters, and that's your belief in Allah, your religiosity. Especially for myself, it's my belief in the religion of Islam. So when I get lost in all of that, that's one thing that I come back to time and time again. And that's one rope that I hang on to with all of my strength, like regardless of what role I'm playing. So you have to have that one foundation, that one basic belief that you always redirect yourself to. And that's the goal that you set. And then all the offshoots, as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as a physician, all these offshoots kind of come together. And then another thing is, of course, mind management, right? Like you cannot do anything without mind management because it will be overwhelming or it's not.
No, that's beautifully put. And and again, comes down to all mind management, our thoughts, how we process them, how we pay attention to them. And I'm so glad you brought up spirituality. That's something that I've personally struggled with pretty much my whole life. And I started doing a lot of work on performance, on improving my performance in my life and in my family life and in myself. And I was making categories of things that I need to prioritize. So for myself, things like, I need to exercise, I need to have meditation time for myself, and then I need to spend time with my kids. And I still didn't feel a lot of peace, a lot of content in my life. And then what I realized is that what I was missing is the spirituality. And so many times I was neglecting Salah because I was blaming that I'm not getting enough sleep. So if I wake up for Fajr, if I wake up, the baby's gonna wake up, and I can't have the baby wake up. And I can delay Fajr, I can do something else at this time. And I was always neglecting that. And that contentment was just not there. And now the way I do it is, I put spirituality as like the first thing that I need for myself, and everything else can revolve around it. And I think, mashallah, like the way Islam is, we think it's there to bound us, that, oh, if we're going to take time out for Salah, that it's going to take us away from our important task. But if you really study like the high performance stuff, it's actually our time to connect with ourselves and with our higher being. So that little break that we take, it's almost like a meditation break where we're paying attention to ourselves, our minds, and like to our creator. And it actually helps us focus better. So that's something that I just started doing and learning more about. So I'm glad you're starting with that. And that's huge power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That in itself is the journey, no matter how you get there. And high performance stuff is one of the aspect. And they're saying that you have to take a break in the middle of your day, after 20 minutes, whatever program you follow, they tell you after an hour, get up and walk. After 20 minutes, get up and whatever they tell you, to disconnect from whatever you're doing in your zone of performance and then come back to it later. Of course, there is that benefit in salah, in dhikr, in all of your remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but there's also the benefit that Allah promised us. And that's what we also forget to sometimes focus on. And we say, okay, if I disconnect and go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I'll be more productive. But then you have to also keep in mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised you rewards that are beyond your imagination, 700 times more for turning to Him and asking Him for help, or doing the good deeds, or really just remembering Him. So a human mind is only capable of learning in references. Okay, if I'm being productive, that means that this is what I have accomplished, then let me turn to Allah to give myself a break or whatever. And it forgets that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised so much more than what we're capable of fathoming. So that always also helps me in keeping it in the right direction.
Yeah, making those connections from the Western perspective and then going back to Islam is just amazing. And even if you look at the waking up, a lot of high performance coaches, they teach how they wake up early in the morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock, and then they go to bed early, and they're most productive in the morning. And in Islam, there's a hadith where Prophet ﷺ said there's a blessing for my ummah in the mornings, like the earlier hours. And we have Fajr scheduled for us.
Correct. Can I just tell you something? My best performance started happening when I started waking up for Tahajjud. So for the past 6 months, I've been waking up at 4 a.m. and going to bed early enough. I get enough REM sleep. Like, it's not a lack of sleep issue. I try and schedule a nap in the middle. It's beautiful. But alhamdulillah, what started happening, and there's so much evidence in our tradition that tells us exactly that. Like, wake up. That's your hour of rahmah. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on the lowest of the lowest skies, where He listens to your dua. So we can find evidence of it in the scientific community, and we can go back to our tradition and look for it in that. And there's really no wrong or right, whatever fits your calling for that time.
Right. Yeah. And then I was having so much drama about how I'm not getting enough sleep. And then I started tracking my sleep with like something like Fitbit. And I've started recognizing that I am getting enough REM, I am getting enough deep sleep. And, this is just my mind telling me, creating something for me to really hold me back. And it's not really a fact. So it's amazing when you start paying attention to like whatever your brain is telling you, to questioning it and saying,
Yeah.
is this a fact or is this something I'm making up? So, we're all inspired by something. What makes you feel inspired to do this work? It's amazing work that you've started.
So I can't say I always had the answer, but it again came to me one day after the Hajj, and I was like, okay, if I'm gonna go down this road, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And it was just so quick. It was like, it has to be around religiosity. And the next second, the name that came to me was Islamic Life Coach School. And I wrote that down. And in the next 5 minutes, I had the domain registered. Like I have it registered under like $7.99 or $10.99, something like crazy, crazy cheap. So it kind of, I want to say it kind of happened, but it happened because whenever I would go and explore this topic, I would always be held back by these waswasas that there's so much Islamophobia, nobody's gonna sign up for your services. There's so much, even Muslims out there that just hate the culture of Islam, not the religion of Islam, but what the culture of Islam is forcing down their throats. They'd be like, okay, I would rather practice whatever Western science, modern science is telling me than go down this culture of Islam that my family is shoving down my throat. And I had all of these ideas that I would be excluded, medical community would never accept me. And I had all these fears, and nothing was true. None of that. And it's just so fabulous. Again, it goes back to mind management. It just goes back to addressing your fears. And my inspiration really came from that moment, but it was built on a lifetime of experiences, because I kept questioning things that I was finding in the Quran versus what I was finding in the culture. I was like, I've been fed this narrative all my life. Let me go to the books. Let me go to the ulama. Let me go to the right resources and find if there's any validity to that. And whenever I wouldn't find it, I would just be like, oh my God, this was never true. Like Muslims, like how men kind of tell a woman their role in a marriage, and it says that you're just supposed to take it or leave it, or even leaving is not an option. Like nowhere in our religion does it say that, and yet I was brought up with this image in my mind. So when I started debunking this and I came to life coaching, I was like, you know what, this message has to be sent out to the masses. There's nothing in our religion that disproves what science is saying. If anything, if science tries to disprove what our religion is saying, it just falls flat on itself. Like if not now, then later. So might as well go to the source, might as well go to the book and the Quran and the Sunnah and get it from there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us growing up in the US probably had a similar story. We struggled with the same things, especially post 9/11 when Islam was being blamed for a lot of these things. And I had the same drama around even calling my podcast Wealthy Muslim Woman. And I was like, okay, should I have the Muslim word in it? Should I only, what if I get blamed for not including non-Muslim women or any of this stuff? And I had such fears around that. And yeah, and then the other thing is like the stereotypes that we have. I was just talking to my husband the other day, especially about Muslim women, and I was talking to another friend, and she said she wants to get therapy, but she's afraid of going for therapy to a non-Muslim white person, or somebody who's not familiar, because they're gonna think she's submissive, she's coming as this person who's being taken advantage of. And she said that's not what it's all about. Like this is, I'm strong, I can speak for myself, but they have this stereotype, and that's what I feel like it's going to come from. And then the other thing I was telling my husband is that we have such a strong example of Muslim women. Like even when we go back to our history, like Khadija, Khadija Razitalan anha was married to Prophet ﷺ, and she was the business owner, and she's the one who proposed to him, and she had been married before, and he was this young guy that she proposed to, and she's this, at that time she was the powerful character in their life. And even today, if we look at our moms or other successful business women, and we see their strong characters, how they've been able to be resilient and do all that. But then we have these stereotypes that, oh, Muslim women, they're submissive and they're staying at home and they're not
Yeah.
allowed to do this and they're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So it's
So fascinating that you brought that up, because I previously had been in therapy before I came to life coaching. And there was a point after like 2 years where I was just sick and tired of talking about my past. I was like, right, when are we going to move on? Right. Like it's one of those talk therapies. So that's another advantage of life coaching, it basically is forward focused rather than past focused, which is a huge advantage that a lot of general population doesn't understand. But the therapist I was going to, it was the same thing. Like he thought just because I was observing the hijab that I was closed in and I was introverted and I didn't enjoy being around people, and I was just taking my orders from whoever told me to do this. And it was so detrimental, because at some level I was questioning that. I was like, am I really? Is this my value? Like, what's happening? Like, there's a lot of brainwashing that goes on if you go to sources like that, and it's dangerous, and you have to really like check yourself. And there are you can be an empowered Muslim woman and you can be in a role of support of your family. You can be in a role of observing the niqab. You can be in the role of, I don't know, whatever is interest to you, scuba diving or being a CEO, or, it's such a large spectrum. And for other people who already come to the picture with preconceived notions, it's detrimental. So it's this life coaching around Islam, mind management with Islamic principles, like you were doing, alhamdulillah, inshallah, I can continue. It's extremely important.
Yeah, no, thank you. So tell me more about your program. Can you break it down? What are you doing? How do you provide your services? Who do you work with? Just any details about your program.
Yeah. So I currently do general life coaching. I offer a success mindset to professional Muslim women who are looking to achieve their highest level of success without second guessing themselves, because that always runs into, it seems like, our genes. We make a decision and we quickly second guess it and we scratch it, and it doesn't really only have to be in your professional setting about a presentation or about a talk that you're giving. Even in real life, like if you want to take your family out for an outing and you're constantly second guessing yourself, is this the right thing? So I kind of help you take out that mind drama. And when I say professional Muslim woman, I think a stay-at-home mom is the toughest profession, going back to what you said. And as soon as I say that, stay-at-home moms just automatically exclude themselves. They're like, oh, I don't have a job that pays me outside of the work. I don't leave home for work, so that means it's not for me. I mean, again, it's the toughest profession. So stay-at-home mom are also part of my coaching clientele. And basically it's general life coaching around the topic that you're having struggle with, because the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designed life is that he sent you here and then he will test you with struggles. So whatever your current struggle is your little flag that's trying to get your attention, to pay attention to what your mind and body is going through, pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to your feelings. So once you've come to that crossroads where you realize that you have a struggle, what I want to offer these women and whoever's listening to this podcast is that it's not you. It's 100% of the time a mismanaged mind. What I also offer, which I really consider to be my contribution towards the life coaching model that we follow, is that the entire, literally every thought that comes to you is either made up of a higher brain origin or a lower brain origin. Lower brain source, the primal brain, the evolutionary brain, source of the whispers of the waswasa of shaitan, or the higher brain being the voice of your ruh, or your connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your higher conscience, and source of your taqwa, your connection to God. And the way we know at any given moment which thought you're acting from, either is a lower brain origin or the higher brain origin, the way we know that is with the result you create. So at one point you could be watching TV and relaxing with your family and you love the whole situation, and you've created, as a result, created a bond with your family. At another point, you would be thinking, okay, let me watch this TV, and you're wasting time and you're not paying attention to your family. So it's the same thought pattern leading to the same actions, but the result you've created is completely opposite. In one case, you've created a bond with your family. In one case, you've created you're ignoring your family. So it's not so much the thought that comes to you that I could tell you that, okay, this you're acting from your higher brain or the lower brain. It's the result that you create out of it. And a lot of times this type of coaching comes so naturally to Muslim women, especially to all Muslims. Like I do these talks at mosques, and it's so well received because they immediately know how to recognize that waswasa, because they've been trained on it. They've been like, okay, if this is happening and you're committing a sin, this is the waswasa. Like they've been told that. What we're not taught is that waswasa is extremely common. If you're not getting a promotion, it's most likely because you're acting on these waswasas, keeping you on shame, in judgment, in second guessing yourself. So when I teach them that there is a third party at play here, it's not necessarily their own inner being that's at fault. It's like a light bulb that goes on, and it makes a coach, like for me, it makes my life so much easier, because from then on I just have to teach them that, okay, this is what you have to do, get out of it. So it's, alhamdulillah, an extremely positive, what can I say, it's an extremely powerful concept that it's already pre-programmed, and it works in our favor, alhamdulillah.
Well, that's great. What's the best way for people to contact you? To a website, through
Yeah. So IslamicLifeCoachSchool.com. That's my website. It has my email, my phone number. Also, I'm available for all the concepts that I teach are on my podcast, Islamic Life Coach School, on iTunes. You could just search that by Dr. Kanwal Akther. And team at IslamicLifeCoachSchool.com is also an email that you can email, but that email is available on the website as well. So you can't go wrong. You can schedule a consult there, or you could look at the program that I offer.
Okay, really nice. Do you have any programs coming up that people can join or look up
So
on?
I am doing a Facebook Live on, I'm going to say August 23rd at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that's a program where I'll be talking about mental health in Muslim women, and how the pathology-based model of mental health is very, very suboptimal. And besides that, the enrollment in my coaching program is just on an ongoing basis. Whoever I qualify could benefit from my services through my free consult is welcome to enroll.
And August 23rd is a Monday, so you're doing it on a Monday?
Oh, maybe I spoke. Okay, so August 22nd then. August 22nd,
Okay.
then, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure August 23rd is Monday,
No,
because
you're
it's my
absolutely right. Right. Yeah.
it's my birthday, so that's the only way I know it.
I'll remember to wish you then.
Yes, it is Monday.
Yes.
Because I
So
was
it's
trying
on
to plan my
August
birthday, and I'm
22nd.
like, I'm sure it's Monday.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's actually on August 22nd at 1 p.m. I'm looking at my calendar right now.
Okay, good, good. And then just a fun question, because we're on a money podcast. If you get, or if you find $1 million right now, it's all yours. So you don't have to go find who it belongs to, but this is your $1 million. What would you do with it? How would you divide it up, and how would you spend it?
That's an easy question. I'll put it in your trust.
In my trust.
The trust where you have a trust for all the Muslim organizations, right?
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. So
But that trust just educates a little bit more.
so I have my own personal trust, which is the
I'm
donor
not
advice
your
fund.
personal trust. I'm not
No,
gonna
I mean,
make your personal.
I mean it's a donor advice fund, so it's not really mine. So the money that goes into it is like charity money that'll be distributed. So once you create it, it's not really yours. So it's not really mine, but I created it. But then I'm not sure if you're referring to the Muslim woman giving circle. I think Uzma and Zeba.
That's the one.
Yes, Uzma and Zeba started that, and we discussed that I think a couple of podcasts ago. So
What's the difference between that one and what you created?
So you can create, so donor advice funds is basically you can go create your own account where, let's say you need to give zakat, or you need to give sadaqah, and you don't know at this moment who you want to give it to, or you want that money to start growing. So you
Mm.
can go to Fidelity and you can open up a donor advised fund. Now, this fund, whatever you can decide to call it. So ours is called Muhammad Ali Fund because my husband's last name is Muhammad and my last name is Ali.
Mm.
So we're the Muhammad Ali family. So we call it Muhammad Ali. And my husband is a huge fan of Muhammad Ali, of course.
Oh, so that
And
worked out.
so, yeah, so we love it. So we have our own family fund, and then this is the charity money, zakat money, sadaqah money, or whatever it is, and we're putting it in that, and that money gets to grow, and and then we distribute it to charity. So once you put money into that fund, it's not ours anymore. It doesn't belong to us. So you can create like that type of fund, but then Muslim Women Giving Circle is a bigger circle where it's a mutual kind of agreement. So it's I think over 100 women right now that are getting together and donating a certain amount each year, and then collectively deciding which charity this money will go to. So then they vote on the charity at the end of each year, and this is Uzma and Zeba's
Oh, I
huge
see.
work,
So
huge
yeah,
work.
you know why I connected you with that? Because the first time I learned about it was through your post. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, look at her doing the next great thing. And that's
Yes.
why. But yes.
No, that is huge. And I think that's something that we do as Muslim women, we do need to take initiative on, and we need to create something that's that big and we can help the community in that way. That is something we all need to discuss and get involved with for sure.
Yes,
And I'm
absolutely. And
so
that's our
glad they
great.
took that in. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm so glad
absolutely.
they
So
took
my
that
million
initiative.
dollars. So my $1 million will go in there.
Yay, that'll be awesome. I'm sure Osman will be happy to hear that.
You just have to give it to me now. You just have to give me that.
Inshallah. So, anything else that you'd like to add that we may have missed or not discussed?
No, I think you very well covered it. Yeah, you've been an excellent host. Thank you for asking all of those insightful questions. I have definitely learned a lot as well. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Again, it's really an honor. Thank you so much.